Welcome to the deep dive. Summer is definitely here, and wow, the gaming world is just exploding with news, leaks, reveals. It's a lot.
It really is. Intense heat outside, intense news inside.
Exactly. So today, our mission is basically to cut through all that noise. We've grabbed a whole stack of sources, insider whispers, official stuff, DLC drops.
Well, it works.
Yeah, the works. And we're going to sift through it to bring you the stuff that really matters. The goal is to give you a shortcut, basically, to being properly clued in on what's happening.
And it's more than just headlines, right? What we're seeing today, it really reflects bigger industry movements, that constant tension between doing something new and sticking with tradition, and how developers are trying to meet player excitement while still, pushing things forward. It's a really dynamic time, and we want to help you understand why this stuff is actually significant for you as a player.
Okay, let's jump right into the big guns then, because there is some major franchise buzz. The whispers around the next Call of Duty. Black Ops 7, they're getting pretty loud. We've got this reputable insider, the Ghost of Hope, leaking a November 14th release date. Now, if that's true, that would actually be the latest launch in the series history.
Yeah, even later than Cold War, which was November 13th back in 2020.
Exactly. So for COD, known for its super consistent autumn drops, it's a noticeable shift. It definitely caught my eye.
It's significant.
And we're hearing the full reveal is probably coming during Gamescom's opening night live in August. So expect the usual trailer, story info, hopefully some real gameplay.
Yeah, that August reveal is likely just the start. Activision's also got that big Call of Duty Next event lined up for late September.
Okay.
Las Vegas.
Oh, right, the hands-on event.
Exactly. Journalists, streamers, content creators, they'll all get to play it, and then that usually leads into the open beta for everyone else.
Makes sense.
And we know it's Treyarch developing, set in the early 90s, so post-Cold War.
Oh, okay.
Expect lots of political intrigue, espionage, covert ops, that whole vibe from a really unstable geopolitical period.
Sounds like classic Black Ops.
It does, but what's fascinating strategically is launching that late November 14th. It could mean they're trying to avoid the early November rush, maybe.
Or maybe they just need the extra time.
Could be. Or it could signal huge confidence, like they think Black Ops 7 can just dominate the holiday season on its own terms. Maybe it suggests a longer dev cycle was needed to really nail the polish.
Interesting take. Okay, from Cody's Battlefields to, Battlefield itself. Battlefield 6 seems like it's right on the verge of an official announcement.
Yeah, those screenshots spread like wildfire, didn't they?
They really did. After that, content creator got the promotional TA kit and then, deleted it.
Yeah.
But the cat was out of the bag.
Classic pre-release leak cycle.
And what's cool is the kit had stuff inside, like straps labeled Conquest and Breakthrough.
Ah, the classic modes.
Right. Pretty strong hint those fan favorite modes are coming back, which is probably reassuring for longtime players.
Absolutely. And that fits with what Tom Henderson reported about EA using content creators heavily for the reveal strategy again. If those kits are out...
The announcement must be days away, yeah.
Exactly. And we're expecting it to launch within this fiscal year, so sometime before March 2026. The interesting part is the structure they're reportedly going for.
What's that?
Traditional multiplayer's back, apparently a much smaller story campaign this time, but also a new free-to-play battle royale mode.
Oh, okay. So leaning into the free-to-play trend.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
It points to maybe monetizing engagement that way, perhaps pulling back investment from the big single-player campaigns. We've seen that elsewhere, too.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears. Sequels and reinventions. This is where things get tricky, balancing the new with the familiar. First up, Ghost of Yotei. And let me be super clear straight away. This is not Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Important clarification.
Yes. It shares a similar tone, definitely, but it's a totally self-contained story. You play as Achu, who's seen as this Onraish, like a vengeful spirit in Izo.
Okay.
And her motivation is pure personal revenge. I mean, the pitch I heard was basically Kill Bill, but set in ancient Hokkaido.
Wow. Okay, that's a comparison. Sounds intense.
Doesn't it? Sounds pretty epic to me.
It really does. And what's interesting is how they're handling the story. It sounds like a very structured, linear narrative focus.
Yeah.
Especially after you make an initial choice about which of 6 targets to go after first. It seems like a deliberate move to keep the story dense and focused. Maybe even a reaction to criticism about fragmented stories in other games, like, say, Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Could be.
In Yotei, apparently each of those 6 Yotei targets is really crucial to Achu's journey. The narrative stays central.
I did see some initial reactions online, the usual, looks like more of the same thing.
Always happens with sequels or spiritual successors.
But the developers, Jason Connell and Nate Fox, they talked about this new unfamiliar philosophy, which I thought was a really good way to put it.
That philosophy is absolutely key here, and it's smart. They aren't throwing out the art style because that's iconic, right?
Yeah.
Instead, they're preserving it, but enhancing it. Better draw distance, better performance, more detail. It looks familiar, but sharper, more vibrant.
So evolution, not revolution.
Exactly. That's the tightrope walk for sequels, isn't it? How do you innovate without losing what people loved? By polishing the strengths and layering in new mechanics, they're betting on evolution. It's a calculated risk.
And there are new mechanics, right?
Oh yeah, like the combat, it now has 5 melee weapon types compared to Tsushima's 4 stances.
Yeah.
So deeper mechanics, more ways to express yourself in combat, but still keeping that core samurai duel feeling.
Okay.
Plus new stuff like revisiting memories, interacting with animals, little things that add depth.
Gotcha. Okay, sticking with returning classics, but one with a much rockier path. Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time remake.
Ah, yes, the saga continues.
Right, completely restarted back in 2023. That's rough. But Ubisoft did recently say it's still alive and coming very soon, which apparently means 2026.
So a 6-year development cycle for a remake. Wow.
Yeah, quite the marathon.
Well, the team's focus, they say, is on rethinking some elements, updating mechanics, but really trying hard to keep the spirit of that legendary original. It's such a beloved game that's a really delicate balancing act.
No kidding. And speaking of Ubisoft and bold moves, they also quietly confirmed a new Ghost Recon.
Oh.
What's the news there? During an investor meeting, apparently. The big headline: for the first time ever, it's going to be a first-person shooter.
Whoa, okay. Not third person. That's
Yes.
a massive shift for Ghost Recon.
Right, a first-person Ghost Recon. What do you think? What are the challenges or maybe opportunities with that kind of shift for a tactical shooter series?
That's a great question. I mean, it totally changes how you experience the tactics, right? First person definitely ramps up the immersion, puts you right in the boots of the operative.
Real tense, for sure.
But it also means they have to completely rethink things like cover systems, maybe squad commands, how you perceive the environment. Your field of view is way more limited.
Yeah, situational awareness changes completely.
Exactly. Details are still thin, obviously. Not expected before fall 2026. Interestingly, Tencent is partially funding it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, part of a deal to support key Ubisoft franchises. And it sounds like it's getting ready for internal alpha testing soon, so maybe we'll hear more in the next few months.
Okay, let's dive into some niche and indie stuff that looked really cool. First, Antioma. It's a Russian project. Looks like a classic adventure game.
Tell me more.
The premise sounds really intriguing. You're this 7-year-old kid, Kroha, living in a hospital, and on his birthday, he escapes with this mysterious shadow character.
Okay, interesting setup.
And the trailer had this beautiful hand-drawn visual style. It just immediately grabbed me.
Yeah, hand-drawn stuff can have such a unique charm. What's the gameplay like?
Seems to be a mix of puzzles, stealth, evasion. People who played the demo describe the atmosphere as warm, yet sometimes tense.
Ah, that nice contrast.
Exactly. Demo feedback was apparently really positive, and it's out August 14th. If you like those atmospheric story games like Little Misfortune or To the Moon, maybe with a hint of horror and that coming-of-age feel,
Yeah.
this sounds like something special.
Definitely want to watch them. Sounds unique.
All right, now for something completely different. Saber Interactive dropped a teaser, and the internet is buzzing, convinced it's a Hellraiser game.
Oh, wow, Hellraiser. What are the clues making people think that?
Well, the teaser itself had a lot. The bell sound from the '87 movie.
Distinctive.
Chains, obviously. A voiceover talking about pain and desire that sounds a lot like Pinhead.
Okay.
And even the clicking teeth sound of Chatterer. Plus, the website linked to the teaser kept flashing the number 55.
Which is the house number from the Hellbound Heart, the original novella. Okay, that's pretty specific.
Right, so the clues are pretty strong. And a Hellraiser game. There haven't been many, really. Saber Interactive doing it gives some hope. They generally make solid stuff.
True. They have a decent track record. People are probably hoping it's not just another Dead by Daylight clone, though. The symmetrical horror space is crowded.
Yeah, good point. We'll find out for sure soon. The official announcement is set for July 22nd.
Not long to wait, then.
Okay, let's talk about ongoing games. Keeping players hooked long-term is key. Skull and Bones. It had a bit of a rocky start, let's be honest.
Understatement, maybe?
Perhaps. But Ubisoft's sticking with it. Big Season 2 update, Outs of War, just launched. They're even doing an 80% discount and a free trial this week to lure people back.
Aggressive moves. What's the big hook for Season 2?
The main thing seems to be factional wars.
Yeah.
You pick a side, royal company or Dutch merchant company, and your actions influence the Season 3 story.
Adding some consequence and ongoing narrative. Smart.
Plus a new ship class, the frigate, and these things called mega forts, huge bases that need coordinated attacks. Looks like they're trying to add more endgame depth.
Yeah, new events, campaigns, and new smuggler's pass. It's a full court press to give it that second wind it really needs.
Definitely. Okay, moving from pirates to life simulation. Krafton is still pushing ahead with Enzo Y, their so-called Sims killer.
Despite maybe player interest cooling off a bit.
Seems so. But they're clearly committed. They're showing off a major DLC at Gamescom's opening night live on August 19th.
What's the focus of the DLC?
It's built around a new map, Kahaya, inspired by Southeast Asian tropical cities. Sounds like it has 2 islands with different vibes.
Oh, like what?
One is more focused on farming and fishing, kind of rural. The other is more of a resort island, slow-paced vacation feel.
Interesting contrast. So expanding the world and lifestyles.
Exactly. And more customization, more realistic simulation elements. They're aiming to really boost the visuals and the depth. If you happen to be at Gamescom, you can actually play it at their booth from August 20th.
Good opportunity for hands-on feedback then.
For sure. And now for a rumor that died almost instantly, Cyberpunk 2077. Remember the buzz about a third-person view coming in patch 2.3?
Oh, yeah, that popped up everywhere for about a day.
And then CD Projekt just shut it down. Flat denial. Sorry, but we have no such plans. Pretty definitive.
Yeah, no ambiguity there. And it kind of reignited that whole debate in the community, didn't it?
Totally. The people who think third person would be amazing for immersion and seeing your character versus those who are like, no, first person is the core vision.
Right, and CD Projekt has been really consistent about that. Their focus seems to be on refining what's there, delivering on that original first-person RPG vision, not adding whole new camera modes.
Which, is their prerogative as developers.
Absolutely. It speaks to sticking to their artistic identity for the game. So if you really, really want third person, mods are still your only bet for now.
Right. Okay, looking further ahead now, future prospects, interesting studio stuff from software. Still riding high from Elden Ring. They've got the Dustbloods coming in 2026 for Switch 2.
Busy times for them.
Seems like it.
Oh.
And there's this other mysterious multi-platform project, codenamed FMC. Apparently already deep in development, maybe also for 2026. You mentioned their code names are interesting.
Yeah, FromSoft has this internal system. Like Dark Souls 3 was FDP, Elden Ring was JR. The really intriguing thing about FMC is the F.
Why the F?
Well, historically, a lot of their established older franchises start with F internally. Think Dark Souls, Armored Core. So an F prefix like FMC gets fans speculating, could it be Dark Souls 4? Or maybe even a Bloodborne sequel.
Oh, wow. Okay, that F carries some weight then.
It definitely fuels the speculation. If it is that far along, maybe an announcement isn't too far off.
Fingers crossed for Bloodborne fans everywhere.
Okay.
Speaking of Switch 2 again, big news for James Bond fans. 007. First Light is getting a native version for the next Nintendo console.
That is significant because IO Interactive's other recent games on Switch, like Hitman.
Or cloud versions only, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a proper native port is a big step up. Shows confidence in the Switch 2's power.
Yeah, IO even mentioned positive collaboration with Nintendo and feeling the hardware can deliver stable performance and good graphics for 007.
Which is great news. And the game itself focusing on Bond's early years, adventure action with stealth. Sounds like a perfect fit for a powerful handheld like Switch 2 could be. A premium Bond experience on the go.
Sounds awesome. Okay, finally, let's check in with a legend. Kiichiro Toyama, creator of Silent Hill, head of BO Game Studio.
Right. What's he up to?
Well, he shared a bit about his next game. And it's not going to be a sequel to Slitterhead, their first game.
Oh, interesting. Slitterhead had kind of a mixed reception, didn't it? Some ambiguity about the genre. Sales maybe weren't huge, but creatively it was pretty unique.
Yeah, Toyama apparently considers it a creative success,
Right.
even with those issues. But for the next project, which is still early days,
What are the goals?
he wants to push genre boundaries even further, grow the studio, and really embrace diversity and experimentation. Not get locked into just one style.
That's fantastic to hear, a commitment to creative exploration from someone like Toyama. That's always exciting, not just playing it safe.
Totally agree. All right, let's wrap things up with some stuff you can play right now, or very, very soon. Immediate thrills. First, Killing Floor 3.
The co-op Gorefest returns.
It does. Confirmed release date, July 24th, PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and they're stressing it's 100% complete at launch with post-launch support planned.
Good messaging. Always reassuring for players, especially for co-op games that need that ongoing support.
Definitely. So what's new this time around? Still fighting Zeds.
Oh yeah, dystopian future, fighting mutant Zeds is the Nightfall Squad. The core appeal is still there, bloody action, lots of gore, intense co-op.
The classics.
But they've added new features, vertical level design for more tactical options, revamped classes with unique skills, bigger perks system, new weapons. Looks like a solid evolution of the formula.
Cool. And finally, something that's already out. New DLC for RoboCop, Rogue City.
Unfinished business.
That's the one. Available now on PC and consoles. I really dug the base game's atmosphere, that gritty, retro future Detroit feel.
Yeah, that was real strength. What's the premise of the DLC?
RoboCop's clearing out the Omniture Tower, which has been taken over by mercenaries. So it sounds like more RoboCop action.
Pretty much. More combat, new enemy types, new weapons, and the big one. You get to control the ED-209.
Oh, nice. How's it reviewing?
OpenCritic has it around 69% average right now, so a little lower than the base game, which was about 73%.
Okay.
Critics seem to say it keeps the original strengths, the combat, the atmosphere, but maybe also its weaknesses, like some underdeveloped dialogue. But the combat and vibe are still praised.
So if you like the main game, sounds like it's more of that. Plus you get to stomp around as ED-209.
Basically, yeah. A solid chunk of extra content for fans.
Okay, so that was a ton of news. Stepping back, what does this all kind of mean for the bigger picture of gaming right now?
Well, if you tie it all together, I mean, today's deep dive really paints a picture of an industry that's constantly juggling things, right? Balancing that comfortable tradition with the push for innovation.
Yeah, that new unfamiliar idea again.
Exactly. Developers are trying to meet what players expect, that familiarity, but also deliver radical changes sometimes, all while dealing with new hardware, new market pressures.
It's like the free-to-play elements we talked about.
Yeah. But through it all, you still see this incredible passion for telling creative stories and making gameplay that's genuinely engaging. It proves the gaming world is definitely not standing still. It's always evolving.
Absolutely. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Looking ahead, what old identity in gaming are you, the listener, most excited to see maybe get reimagined? Or what kind of new direction do you think could genuinely shake up a series you love in the next few years?
Good questions to ponder.
Definitely something to mull over. All right, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us.